This Memorial Day weekend, 2021, I took my wife up to Benkelman, where she had graduated from high school 50 years ago. They had her reunion this weekend. So I took her up there and we had a good time, good meal, and she got to see a lot of people she hadn't seen for a long time. There were 40 kids in her class, 40. 10 died between then and now. And of the 30 left, 23 showed up for their 50th reunion. It was interesting to see how well they had done and how good. The potential there was that they were going to conquer the world back then. But of course that didn't happen. Still, there was everybody from doctors to farmers and all sorts of jobs in between. Absolutely. And not one of them in their class was ever put in prison. That speaks well too. That speaks well. But of my wife, of course, she was born in 1952. And in that time period, she hit about 9 years old and she'd already doing odd jobs. But her dad on the farm decided that she should milk the cows. There was enough other work for the hard work for the boys to do, so they'd let her milk the cows. That's twice a day. She'd get up in the morning, she'd go get the cows in, feed them and milk them, and then come back in, eat breakfast, and get ready for school. That was her day. And when she came home, it was just reverse. Get your school clothes off and get your farm duds on, and go out there and go get the cows, feed them, and milk them. That was her job, absolutely. 7 days a week she did that, from 9 years to 19 years old when I married her. Yeah. So she knew cattle, and she knew how to milk a cow. She could run circles around me trying to get milk out of a cow, for sure and for certain. But they also were taught, to be very frugal with their money, and I was as well. And so we lived very well as far as that goes because we didn't spend very much. And we both enjoyed work rather than to play. So quite often we'd have 2, even 3 jobs. It's been an interesting 50 years. You got to remember, 50 years ago, Vietnam War was going. I said the Vietnam War was going. And I was pretty scared I might get stuck into that fray. But luckily I did not. But with that said, though, the times were different. There was a thing, the hippies were going strong back then, not where we were. Neither she nor I were hippies by any means. And free love and that type of stuff never came around because our country schools were still back in the 50s mentally quite often. And a lot slower pace, if you will. And for sure we would just shake our heads when we'd watch the nightly news of the riots, be it race riots in the early 60s or later, the Vietnam riots where they would, trying to get us out of Vietnam, and all sorts of things and craziness, and thinking that Russia was coming every day with the nukes. And then, of course, in the 70s when we got married, they said we'd be out of gasoline in 20 years. By 1990, we'd be totally out of fuel. We'd be walking or riding bikes. That's what they said. The experts said it. So anyway, and Russia forgot to come and invade us, and nor were they planning to. Though we had a couple of close calls with nukes exchanging. There's no question there. But for the most part, it was an interesting 50 years that we've had. And our life has seen ups and downs. Our first child was a stillborn boy, and then God gave us 2 children, 2 daughters, that were a blessing and beyond. Absolutely. And of course, losing my long-time job of 11 years there at TRW was a devastation. And of course, then I picked up, though, God gave me the Mr. Bill truck to run, and always odd jobs to pay most of the bills. Wife picked up the rest, thank God. But again, 50 years ago, incredible. If you're not to your 50th, you'll be surprised how quickly it comes. So enjoy life. every day. Have a good day.